Actually, I'll just grab my block. And put my matching socks on. So for those of you guys that were on Instagram, and I promised I'd tell you the pronunciation of the word that I was writing, that is Northern English for sleep. The correct pronunciation is bobies. So that's how we say sleep in Northern England, bobies. And so this is a practice to get you guys ready for bobies. You're going to need a block, most likely. Be near a wall just in case. And those of you guys that are fortunate enough to have a bolster, have a bolster with you as well. We have got a couple of minutes before we do get started, but I'm going to just begin to kind of talk you guys through the practice that I've got in mind today, and then anyone that's joining can just kind of catch the back end. But I'm going to work tonight into the psoas muscle, which some of you guys may have heard of before, and it's the major muscle that connects our upper body to our lower body. It's a huge muscle. It backs all of our internal organs, and it also has a relationship with the diaphragm. The reason why I'm working it tonight is that it's also the muscle that keeps us in like high vigilance. So it's kind of the muscle that helps us run away if we're in danger, or like curl up into a ball if we're being threatened. So for most of us, that muscle is really, really tight, and it can keep us in this what is known as the sympathetic nervous system, which is like fight, flight, or freeze. And so we actually become really used to operating in that state, and then as a consequence, our body slowly but surely begins to not work as well. And then we obviously get diseases or dis-ease, if that's how you like to remember it. So tonight's practice will be about down regulating the nervous system and releasing the psoas. We are not going to release it in an hour. It's lifetimes of stress and trauma and tension that is stored in that muscle. But what my hope is that you guys will at least get to experience a glimmer of what it feels like to be in the parasympathetic nervous system. So what it feels like to actually be in a down-regulated rest and digest state. And that's like so abnormal to us that when we actually go into it, we often mistake it as being like tiredness, but in actual fact it's just the normal way of being. We're just so out of tune that it's unfamiliar. All right, my love, so let's get started. Come down onto your back. Have your knees bent and your feet flat. And just take your hands right up to your upper rib cage. So the position that we're in is known as constructive rest. And this is the first part of beginning to kind of create a position where our psoas can begin to realize it's okay to relax. And then bringing your hands to your upper rib cage, we're just going to work into a little bit of diaphragmatic breathing. So your diaphragm and your psoas have a very close relationship actually. So where your hands are on your upper rib cage, just start to breathe in a way that when you inhale, you feel your side ribs move out into your hands. And then when you exhale, you let your side ribs draw in towards your midline. And just begin to feel in for your own kind of rhythm of breath or your pace. So what you're feeling for is an expansion of your ribs sideways on your inhale, and a natural contraction in on your exhale. Just a few more in this way, so you're noticing it's not a forced breath, it's just really thorough. And as you're breathing, see if you can notice like which side of your rib cage moves out first. So once you notice which side of your ribs is moving first, take both your hands to the opposite rib cage. And take another 5 breaths into that side of your ribs. So what we're doing here is we're just beginning to iron out any kind of discrepancies in the diaphragm, in the breath. Okay, once you've done those few breaths into one side, bring both your arms by your side, palms are upward facing. And continue breathing this way, so you've still got your knees bent, you're still in constructive rest. You're starting to feel your breath, not just through your side ribs, but also through the back of your body. And you know, at this stage, there might not be much of a change in terms of how you're feeling. But even just noticing subtle shifts in your energy. Okay, and then rolling gradually onto one side. So take yourself over, no rushing, take it easy. And then come on up to sitting. And we're going to move into dragon. So if you think about your psoas being from the back ribs, comes around and attaches to your femur bone. So we're wanting to open up the front line. It's kind of around hip flexor region as well as other areas. So starting with your right foot forward. So there's a few ways you can do this. You can be upright in a high lunge, and that might be the place where you feel as though there's a softening. So we're not wanting to like overstretch or try to like really lengthen. We're just looking for a gentle opening actually. So this might be enough for you today. And then starting maybe to move into a little bit of a deeper version. So you might have a block to rest your hands on. Some people like to do kind of an arm over, which again might be where your feeling is good for you today. I actually do like that for me in terms of getting into the like higher regions of the psoas. But again, only if your arms like relax, if there's no effort. And then for some of you, it might be that you're in a bit of a lower flying dragon. So choose your version. Because it is the psoas that we're working with, and because the intention is that we want it to release as opposed to activate, the energy that we're bringing is really important. So feeling for the version of this shape that really allows you to actually relax in. It doesn't have to be like the easiest thing you've ever done in your life, but enough so that the key is we're not building excess tension, because that's kind of what we're wanting to move out. And then again, whilst you're here, you can start to feel in for areas of your body that might habitually clench up in these poses. It's just another way of us kind of shifting the tension to other areas of our body. But essentially, we want to release it from our body completely, and so we can begin to move down into those more restful and, you know, relaxed states. And for tonight, keep that depth of breath we've been working with. I wouldn't say that normally, but there's a reason behind it tonight. So we want to engage with the diaphragm to assist the psoas in releasing. So coming into the last minute, doing 5 or 6 breaths here. And again, I would encourage you guys just to check in and notice, like, is it come to that place where it's really stressful again? And are you working with that place where you're able to actually relax internally? So taking your sweet time, there is no hurry at all. And start to make your way out. So you can come either onto your belly or onto your back. So just depending on where you want to rest this evening. And the resting being really important always, but particularly in this type of a practice, so that your nervous system can remember that this is a safe place and that it's okay for this muscle to not need to work all the time. Okay, so come on, easing up to sitting, kneeling. And let's go to the other side. So this time your left foot will be forward. You might notice that this is a really different tension on this side. So there might be something that needs to change in order for you to get to that place of deep release. So both sides don't need to look the same at all. Can be totally different if they need to be. So basically what happens with our psoas is because it's so alert and it's so used to operating in this like high vigilant kind of overstimulated way. When the psoas is that active, it's like we're constantly in survival mode. And because our body thinks we're in survival mode, most of the other systems are placed on like shutdown, purely because our body thinks that they're not actually that important right now. And so one of those systems is obviously our digestive system. And considering that the psoas backs onto all of our internal organs, there's a definite relationship between, overstimulation or like high vigilance and poor digestion. Which would explain a lot of the allergies that we're, seeing more and more commonly in the Western world, I guess, more so than anywhere else. So again, just coming into that final minute or so. You get this sense of your internal organs beginning to, at the very least, just soften. All right, beauties, again. Oh. Come out slow, so nothing too quick moving. And again, you've got the option, you can come straight down onto your belly, you can come onto your back, or you might even want to come into constructive rest again. That's a pretty appropriate place to rest also. So there's a really obvious way to know if your nervous system is down regulating, and it's when you start to feel your body go like like that type of like long that is your nervous system changing gears. Okay. Transition onto one side. Just ease on up to sitting. And so we're going to move into supported bridge. I'll give you guys a few different options. If you want to do this over a bolster, then you're pretty much over a bolster and that will be your place. So you're welcome to head straight in. Otherwise, come down onto your back, pop your pelvis up and come into the bridge over a block with either on the lowest height or the second lowest. And what I like to do in this one is just work with my feet a little bit wider than hip width and start to feel for that release through the front line of the body, so it kind of comes inside the hip bone. Now you can obviously take your arms over your head and that might be where you stay. We're going to be here for a little while. You can also do this on the higher level if you're working on a block. So your legs are going to be extended straight out, as wide as you need to feel for that release going up through the front line of your belly and then around into your back. So again, you might just stay here for the whole time. Even giving yourself a little bit of a belly massage, just feeling some of the points in your belly that feel particularly tight. You might want to just keep a little bit of pressure there to release. And then the other option is to do a half virasana. So you're really starting to open up to the left, start with the left knee bent, so the left side psoas. And then I will let you guys know when it's time to change. So if you're doing a half version, I'll let you know when time is up. And again, as you're in the pose and you're starting to feel for, which parts of the front line of your body, and particularly into your abdomen, there's a lot going on in there, like all of our connective tissues, our fascia, all of our internal organs, and then we've got the layers of our abdomen, our ab muscles, so many things. And this position is really great for just allowing that natural unwind. So you don't really need to do too many things here. And just letting the block hold the weight of your body. As you keep some awareness to the quality of your breath. So if you're doing the half virasana, half saddle version, we're around about halfway. So starting to release the bent leg and making your way to the second side. If you're working with both legs outstretched, it might be that you've got more space now to go a little higher on your block perhaps. Or if you're on a bolster, maybe you're working with your legs a little bit wider or a little bit closer together. So just keep meeting your edge. And by edge tonight, I mean the area where you can access attention that is requiring a release. Very different from stretching. So move into that passive way of letting go. Okay, my loves, last 5 or so breaths. Again, that might mean a little bit of a lesser version for the last moments. But somewhere where you feel as though internally you are able to soften. Like there's a internal let go. So just be very mindful in this one. We've been here a while. So it might be that you bend your knees, feet are flat, very slowly, 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 slowly. Lowering yourself down, and again you can rest in constructive rest if that's good for you. Maybe knees together and feet a little bit wider. Or you may want to take your legs straight forward so you're all the way down. So for this next shape, you can stay pretty much as you are actually. So down on your back. Try to avoid any kind of unnecessary movement. Okay. So the first option is to bring your left knee into your chest like so, and you just got your hands around your left shin. Right leg can just extend straight down, or maybe you bend your right knee. Just have your inner right thigh opening. That's quite nice actually. So this would be your version. And then the other option is half happy baby. So you've either got your hand inside or outside of your left foot. And then feeling in for your left knee outside of your left rib cage. And again, you might want to bend your right knee so that your right foot's flat on the floor and there's not as much pull. But again, it depends on where you're at. So remember, the idea is we want to feel a release, not such a huge, intense stretch or strain. You guys get the theme tune of Rain on a Windowsill tonight. How lucky are you? Extra layer of work in terms of keeping very still and not non-reactive, not agitated. I had a moment before practice where I was like trying to control where the water lands on the windowsill because it was just too noisy, and luckily I caught myself being incredibly and typically human, like trying to control the uncontrollable. Okay, beauties, just another 5 or so breaths again. That focus on the area that we're really targeting. So, top of the left thigh, like femur bone, all the way through the back line of the body. If you've got your right knee bent a little and, feeling into what's letting go there. All right, beautiful ones. Oh. Help your legs together, whichever version you've been in. Just let your legs extend somewhere where you're comfortable resting for a moment. A lot of the time when I'm working with Psoas release particularly, I get lots of like visual kind of random memories and images. So just kind of noticing in these parts in between, like, is there a certain feeling? Is there like flashes of memories? Maybe there's nothing, and that's okay too. Just notice. And then let's go to second side. So again, you might notice this is different ball game on this side. It might be that you've got one side that's a little bit more responsive. So you got your knee into your chest with your left leg straight, It's your right knee. You can bend your left knee like I'm doing, which seems to be working in my body, but might not in yours. And then you've got half happy baby with your right knee. So you can have your left knee bent with your foot flat or extending your left leg straight down. Okay, beauties, last few breaths, just to really feel for that deep internal let go, that deep, deep unwind. And then again, just, really take your time. There's no quick movements that will shock your body. And just ease into that place of rest, so whether it is constructive rest with your knees bent, or you're lying all the way down, whatever works. Sometimes for me, this state of being is so unfamiliar that it can feel a little bit like unnerving or a little bit scary. So if you're getting those feelings, that's okay too. Just kind of be with whatever is here. Okay, my loves. So you stay down, stay close to the ground. Just bend your knees so that your feet are flat. Pop your pelvis up and shift your pelvis over to the right a couple of inches. Just bring your knees into your chest and move into a really modified supine twist. So your knees are stacked one on top of the other. Right arm is kind of up to you. There's no kind of rules really there. Some people like it up by the ear, others out to shoulder height. But this time working on bringing your knees close up to your chest. And allowing for your upper back to just kind of rest into the earth. Just starting to head on back through centre. Oh, so creaky today. And again, you might just have your feet flat, knees bent for a minute or so. Just kind of integrating that change, that side, how your body feels. And then moving to second side. Oh. So a little shift of your pelvis is really helpful to get not necessarily deeper, but just more out of the twist. So remember, you can take your left arm up by your head or out to shoulder height, just kind of whatever works. I quite like the arm straight up for pec release at the moment, but again, you guys decide. Okay, beauties, making your way back. So you either just stay with your knees bent or feet flat for a moment, or you're coming all the way onto your back. So the only pose remaining from this point is final rest, Shavasana. If you're happy with where you are, stay. You've always got the option to take your legs up the wall. That's a great kind of general down regulator. And then the other alternative tonight is if you do have a bolster or a roll of some description, you can rest with the roll or the bolster underneath your belly. So there's a little bit of pressure applied to the region of your psoas, which will again just assist in that level of kind of unwinding tension. And again, whatever it is you are choosing, how much can you commit to like a deep rest, a real deep uptake of, you know, relaxation really. If you need longer, stay as long as you need tonight. Otherwise, invite your breath in. Keeping your eyes just very gently closed. As you make the transition to one side, slow, slow. And easing on up to sitting. Just bring your hands to rest easy at your heart. Hopefully ready for a nice, long, deep sleep. Namaste.